Ma'am, do you want a dog? Excuse me, as people walk in and out. He's hawking his best friend. Somebody was like, when I said it gets worse, they're like, he eats the dog. Although that would be worse, because then the dog, there's no happy ending for that dog. But we've got, in one hand, we've got $350,000, the cure to all of his problems for probably the next decade. He lives the dream that he moved to New York for. And on the other hand, we have, I'm Rocky. It's weird when you think about that, because that was the reality of the situation. So how big did Rocky have to be in his mind to hold on to it so tight that the world couldn't even pry it out of his heart? Even after punch after punch after punch. Every time he went to a production studio, I want you guys to get this. Walking in, having somebody read your idea, and then telling you you're not Rocky. That's a limp home, right? And he does that over and over until finally he gets an offer. And he's got this weird thing of his dream in one hand and the cure to all of his problems in another. And I want you guys to put that in your mind, because we're going to revisit it. All of his problems, but he still can't get out of his mind. Please clear. I'm Rocky. I am Rocky. Click, please. Now, we know how the story ends, right? Finally, he gets a production studio. Let's go. What's your name? Caitlin. Caitlin finally cuts him a break. But she's got to worry about Caitlin too, right? You can't just make crappy movies unless you're the... I don't know, there's been some really crappy movies that have been made. But back in the day, they really couldn't just throw their money away like they do now. Like Spider-Man 3. Now it hurts just to think about it. Caitlin goes, okay, Sylvester, I'll give you $35,000, which is a far cry from $350,000. A far cry. I'll give you $35,000, and you can be Rocky. Here it is. Here it is. Caitlin gives him his chance to be Rocky. So he takes it. $35,000 is just enough to get him through, because what happens right after Rocky's made and it launches? If you guys Google the top 20 movies of all time, Rocky is probably on every list. It was a time when America needed the story of an underdog. We needed to root for somebody that was a little punch drunk. Which, now that we understand, Sylvester Stallone's, the way he talks is Rocky. Do you guys get that? The thing he was made fun of, he's Rocky. Adrian. If you've never seen it, see it, okay? Okay? Homer. So we think about this moment where he's accepted his Best Actor award, by the way. He's already got money dumped into Rocky 2. What do you think the first thing he does now that he's rich? Click, please. One more time. Oh. Happy ending for the dog, right? He does not eat the dog. He goes back and he says, where's that guy that I sold the dog to? Where's that guy? Hunts him down. He goes, I'll buy my dog back, $100. Well, no, he's bonded with my kids now. It's too late. $1,000. And this guy, you gotta think, this guy's going, you're Rocky, right? So this can go one of two ways. You're rich and you give me money, or you're gonna punch me right in the face and take the dog. Anyway. It cost Sylvester Stallone every dime he made on his script to buy his dog back. $35 grand.
Jeez, oh my gosh.
And both the guy that he sold the dog to and the dog appear in Rocky 2. Okay? So, we've got a weird situation here Because if Rocky had sold out, if Sylvester Stallone had sold out and taken the offer for $350,000, we wouldn't have Rocky. Think about that movie and how much it launched who Sylvester Stallone is. The foundational moment in his entire career hung on that decision between $350,000 and what?
Rocky.
This half is kind of awake. This half was just looking at me like that. Ready? Let's try it one more time. Ready?
I am Rocky.
See, when I know how loud you guys can be, it's standard. It's pretty loud. But we're going to get a little bit more and more loud. Is that okay? I want you guys to have something inside you as powerful as that notion that you're Rocky. Because think about that. If that person that got punched in the face and was just laying there crying and bleeding, if there was a reason to get up and keep going, you'd get up and keep going. And so what is it that's inside you guys that's going to keep you going when life takes its shots? Quick, please. How many of you guys have ever heard this word? Nobody. Okay, this is not an English word. It's Japanese, in case you couldn't tell. And it's not ikigai like you're calling me the whole time. It's ikigai. Okay, ikigai. Oh, nice. Creepy stuff. Okay, it's ikigai. Your ikigai, the reason I like the Japanese word is because it takes about 20 American words, or English, words to define. So click, please. Let's take a peek at what it means. Lit. No, I think that's an abbreviation for literary. I don't think it means lit, but it kind of fits, right? A reason for being, a reason to get up in the morning to enjoy the meaning of life, your passion, your purpose, something you live for. I saw you flinch. She did. But I want you guys to think about it. Wouldn't it be awesome if you knew what your ikigai was before you decided what to do after high school? See, we're putting you in this weird situation where we have pretty much walked you through the last 12 years. And then we just kind of... And the advice you get is, well, just go to college. It's the answer to everything. Or just do this, take over mom and dad's business. Or whatever advice you've been given. Without ever doing any discovery on what is inside you. What's going to keep you going when life gets a little bit harder. Do you guys know that in Idaho, out of every college freshman in the state, only half return for their next year? That should stun you. I felt the breath leave your body when you're like, oh. That should stun you. But it's because you get out there, you've got all these hopes and dreams, and then what happens? Somebody hits you with the gavel. Probably not. I've never been hit with a gavel, but I imagine it hurt a lot. So it would be sweet if we could identify that thing inside us that no matter what life hits us with, yeah, we might fall to the ground. We might stay there for a couple days, maybe a week or two, but we are going to get up and we're going to keep moving forward. So let's talk about how to find that. Because it's something that school doesn't always teach. Click, please. Now, how many of you have ever been told to just do what you love? Has anyone ever been told, hey, just pursue what you love? Or been fed the BS that means bologna sandwich. Or ever been fed the bologna sandwich that says, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That is horse pucky. Every successful person you ever talk to will tell you that they worked their tail off to get where they're at. Sylvester Stallone will tell you that he worked his tail off to get where he's at. So, we've got this advice that we need to debunk about, hey, just do what you love. Because if you look up at my cute little Venn diagram, patented by somebody else, copyright somebody else. If you look at the Venn diagram, the upper circle, 25% is what do you love to do? Because it is important that we do something that we love. But if you go around the diagram, what are you good at? Because there's plenty of people that are doing what they love, and they're not really great at it. Like video games. You may have gotten that 5-person kill in Call of Duty, but I'm sorry, you're probably not going to ever get paid to play video games. You have to be pretty stinking good. In fact, the last person I watched play a video game, he was playing Mario Brothers, and he did the world record. I think it was the original Super Mario Brothers, and he beat it in under 4 minutes. He had almost 3 million people watching him live. That's pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. But I played a lot of Mario Brothers, and the soonest I ever beat it was 12 minutes. Which is how many times longer? 3. Yeah, 3 times longer. So we're not talking, he beat me by a couple seconds. He ruined me. Never playing Mario again. What are you good at, and then what can you get paid for? And the cool thing about being iGens, hopefully that's not the first time you've heard that term. Do you guys know you're not millennials?
Yeah.
Is that good news? Yeah? Everyone hates the generation before them. It's just weird. But the cool thing about iGens is you guys can get paid to do almost anything. It's easy to start a business nowadays. My wife watches somebody put her makeup on with like 6 million followers. And then makeup companies just send her stuff and sponsor her. And I don't understand it. But more power to that woman that makes her living putting on makeup. The next one is, what does the world need? And the cool thing is what does the world need from you? And I've got to believe that Sylvester Stallone, when he was going from production studio knew the world needed him to be Rocky. I've got to believe that because he believed it so strong he gave up $350,000 and his best friend to follow his dream. It's insane to think about because there's not a whole lot that we would, not a whole lot of punishment we'd take right now, sitting right where we're at. How many of you guys don't like pain at all? Like have a huge aversion to any uncomfortable situation, uncomfortable feelings. And yet, I've got to give you some really bad news. You ready? Life doesn't discriminate. Life is not racist. Life doesn't care about how you're raised or who you blame or any of that stuff. The same wind blows on every single one of us. You'll find the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people are the fact that they just kept going. If you ever follow Will Smith on Instagram or Snapchat, he'll tell you the reason you're not an actor is because you won't do what I've done. Period. He doesn't say he has some magic formula for success or anything. But he will tell you that if you and I get on a treadmill together, one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to stay on it longer, or I'm going to die. That's it. He goes into competition with that mentality. How many of you guys in here play a sport? That is a lot of people. When you think about what do I love to do, a lot of people will say sports, video games. They'll say something like that, and I'm like, okay, let's get a little deeper. What do you love about sports? Why are people who play a sport more likely to do something competitive for work? There are people that hate competition. Did you know that? Lots of people who hate competition. I'm like, okay, stay out of business. Don't be a movie star. There are people that don't like to be told no. There are jobs for people like that. There are jobs for people like Rocky, who never gave up. Look at this. You see, in the middle, where all these four things meet, in perfect Venn diagram harmony, right, is called your ikigai. Now, when you ask yourself these 4 questions, it's going to be different answers as you age and as you experience other things. But what you're going to see is, if you're pursuing your ikigai at all times, since I said you were born with it, let's pretend you're coming around. Okay? Or like Gollum with the ring. Okay? As you're carrying that around with you, you know that when you play a sport, what happens to your ikigai? It grows. It gets a little stronger. When you take a certain class in high school and you realize that your ikigai grows and gets a little bit stronger. I want you guys to think about skinny old CD that had to stand in the same place twice just to cast my own shadow. Think about little CD growing up from 5 years old until 17 years old. I had the same thing written on every report card. Every teacher told my mom the same thing. What do you think it was? I talk too much in class. Disruptive to the learning environment. That was my favorite one. Yeah. And every time I had to sit next to my mommy and have her be told that I talked too much in class and that I was disruptive in class. Not one time, guys, not one time did my teachers or my mentors spin that to be a gift. When I was growing up, everybody had the same worst fear. Do you know what that one worst fear was? I heard it.
Spiders.
Public speaking. Spiders. I hate spiders. That's probably one of mine. Spiders and enclosed spaces together, I'm done. Okay? I'm done. But for most people, public speaking was number 1. You know what number 2 was?
Spiders.
Death.
Oh, I knew that. I knew that.
I love that everybody's laughing because you realize how ridiculous that sounds, that the number 2 fear is death. I'd rather die than get up in front of people and speak. And yet, I had that gift when I was 5 years old, and nobody ever told me it was a gift. Because you guys know what I get paid to do every day now? Not just talk.
To audience.
Talk in class. I could gladly get out my report cards and be like, yeah, that's me. Just like Sylvester Stallone can probably go, yeah, my face droops when I talk funny. I'm Rocky, yo! What's up? The same thing that sets us apart, that people can make fun of, can be exactly what this world needs us to do. It can be what sets us just enough apart that we've got an edge over anyone else. There's nobody that could have played Rocky with the passion of Sylvester Stallone. Because why?
I am Rocky.
He was Rocky and he knew it, guys. He knew it. So click, please. This is a quote from the movie Creed, which he also wrote about 40 years after Rocky. And as I read it, I told you we were going to revisit the decision, right? So I want you guys to think back to when he's got the $350,000, the answer to all of his problems, and then his dream. And as I read this quote, I want you to think about it, because if you just read it as a movie quote, you're going to be like, that's some good writing. But if you think about it as written by a guy in that situation, the meaning is a little bit deeper. So check this out. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. And so what I want to tell you in here with the theme of believe in yourself is life doesn't believe in you. I told you life doesn't care, but you do. You do. You care. And a lot of us sit back because we want life to give us an opportunity, or we want a mentor to come and shake us up. But it's up to us. Our ikigai is ours. And when I read this, that's how winning is done. There's not a decision you're going to make after high school, besides breaking the law and some of the stuff that you shouldn't be doing, that's going to cause you to fail. Will Smith, I love it. He'll say, fail hard, Fail often and fail forward. Fail forward. It's not about how long you stay down, how much you bleed, how much it hurt, whatever punch you took to the face. It's about getting up, brushing it off, and moving forward. Believe in yourself, because even Rocky, even Sylvester Stallone's best friend, if that was you, you would have told him to take the money, because he cared about it. You cared about it. So even when your own mentors, your own teachers, your own family are the ones that are punching you in the face, you've got to go off what you believe. And believe in yourself. Thank you guys for having me.